Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, as you can see from the spinning fan, I'm home. Not anything bad. This was actually planned to be home. And I've also been just kind of hanging out. Not really much been going on as far as like trucking is concerned. I mean, it's pretty dead. And that's actually what we're going to talk about. There was a guy, a girl. You can't tell these days, right? Um, I think it was a guy. We'll go with the guy. So they asked, how many miles will I get when I'm out of training? And I had to read it twice because I thought, well, how many miles? No, I had to read it twice because I thought they were asking how many miles they were going to get, like in training or something. So what they were wondering was, once they complete training, how many miles they're going to get. So like once they're solo, how many miles could they expect? And now I don't know if they were company or lease. Um, but that's what we're going to talk about. As far as being home. So I know everyone's probably like, weren't you just home like last week or something like that? I was. So I actually wasn't going to come home for Easter. I had no plans to come home from Easter. And everyone's probably thinking, oh my God, like, why won't you be home for Easter? Because I know how my family is. It's kind of like, not in a bad way. It's just like, all we did was hide eggs and barbecue. Yeah, I can do that on a normal Saturday. No, my family's not out there randomly hiding eggs to find them on some random weekend. I'm just saying, like, just that kind of hanging out and that kind of thing, I could have easily passed up on that. And this was actually planned because it was my birthday and my sister's daughter's birthday, so my niece. So we came back. I came back for that. Honestly, came back for mine because a 1-year-old birthday party. Let's face it, it's not. I think the most fun I had. I drank a bunch of beer. I think I probably had like 8 or 9 beers. That was probably the most fun that I had. I mean, and then this kid. So he's got like a mental medical issue. I'm not sure what exactly is wrong. So it's like mentally he thinks he's like 12 or 13 years old, but his body is like 21. So I don't know what that's called. But basically that's what's going on. So like he's, an adult outside, he looks like an adult, but he's got the mental capacity of like a 12 or 13-year-old or something. Anyways, he got into a jump house, and I've seen plenty of adults in a jump house, but there was other little kids in there, and he was trying to avoid like hurting the kids or anything. He was being super careful. I guess he jumped wrong and he rolled his ankle, and when he rolled it, he made sure to fuck it all the way up. I think something long, just to keep it short, like something with his tendons, and he basically shattered his ankle. Absolutely disgusting. But that was the highlight of the of this 1-year-old's birthday party. Anyways, to the question. So I woke up this morning and I was looking on Facebook, and somebody was like, "How many miles can you realistically expect once you get out of training?" And that's hard. That's a hard to answer. And I know a lot of people have that answer. Because I guess it's more like a feeling of, are they going to run me like crazy, or, that kind of thing, like, or how much money. I think it's more of like from a money aspect. It could be what they're asking. But again, I don't know if they were company or lease. And that's a lot of the things that go into how many miles you're going to get, because there's really no way to know. I mean, what if you're not feeling good that week? What if you've got, some kind of planned home time coming up? What if you have problems with your truck? Maybe you're a trainer. If your company, if your lease, if you turn down loads. I mean, the weather, the relationship with your fleet manager, all of those things play a factor. On how many miles you're going to get. There was times where I think we were in North Carolina, and I think I made a video about this where we talked about it, where we were in North Carolina and we saw a badass storm coming, and when we looked at it, it was associated with some tornadoes. There was very, very high winds, and that was from North Carolina. I think it was going to, oh man, I don't know, Ohio or something. I mean, it was a good little run, and we decided to wait it out a day. Because we wanted to let that pass a little bit. Now, we still caught some rain, stuff like that, but not nearly as bad as it would have been. Now, did it affect our miles at all? No, but that could be a thing where they could say, "Oh, we need you to take this load to Wyoming," And you look at Wyoming and it's completely closed. It's just no way of getting in, and they want you to take it, and you've already committed to it, and you're halfway there. There's no way. You just don't know how long you're going to be able to go, or if you have to drop it off somewhere. I mean, you could run halfway and you can't even get into the state because the weather is so bad. I mean, there's a number of factors that contribute to how many miles you're going to get. Especially if you're a trainee and you're fresh off training, and they're not going to be like, okay, here's this 1,800-mile load. First of all, you're not going to get that, not unless they give you like a week, to get there. Is it possible? Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, by yourself, I mean, think about it. You can only drive 11 hours a day. Most people aren't doing that. They're not running 11 hours a day. Now, in a team setting, probably, because you can switch off, and by the time you do your 10-hour break, your clock is back. So in a team setting, probably. But when it comes to solo, most people don't. It's 8-9 hour drive. That way they can run recaps, which that's a whole other thing that I'm not really going to get into. I know people have issue like knowing what a recap is, but that's just probably not going to happen. So it just depends. If how much of a relationship you have with your fleet manager. I mean, he could be giving you 200-300-400-mile loads. Maybe if you've gotten in an accident in the past and they don't really trust you that much, and that's why you're getting crap loads. I mean, it just depends. Like, and I know people think it's like this set thing. You can expect 4,000 miles a week. Well, that all depends on the loads you get. What if you had a couple of long runs and, it maybe you only got 2,500 miles that week, but maybe those loads paid a lot more. That's all a factor too, depending on how much they pay. What if you had one load that only went, I don't know, 800 miles, but let's say it pays 4,000. That's not a realistic thing, but I'm just saying for the week, you're only going to get, the one load, not multiple loads. So for people that are like, when they ask that question, especially with like being in training, they want to know how it is in being in training. There's really no way to answer that. With this past settlement that I got, I think it showed 3,200 miles, and I don't know if that full 3,200 miles gets tacked on to my training miles. So for instance, I had 13,000, I think it was. Does it now is it 16,000 miles because it was 3,000 miles? I don't know what miles exactly get tacked on. Someone told me it's all dispatched miles. So does that conclude deadhead and loaded and unloaded? All of that, does all of that get added? I don't know. Now that's something they don't really tell you. And a lot of people have asked that, like, how, what miles get count towards your training miles. Honestly, I don't think anyone has the right answer except for the guy that fucking made it up. So, and I wish they would come out with something, especially in your orientation, when new trainees come in, especially because that's the number one question. Like, how long is it going to take me to get done? 50,000 miles is a lot, but I wish they had as much. If you've been through prime training, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As much fucking paper as they give you, as much fucking paper, all the useless shit that they give you that you should look at one time and throw away. There could be one of those on there that explain exactly what miles get, that count towards your 50,000. That's a piece of paper I'd probably hang on to. Or if they had it, well, since it changes so damn much, I'd say maybe put it in some kind of book. But man, it changes so damn much. It's just it's frustrating. I know a guy, he commented on my video. He's like, the first problem you had was going to prime, and you should have went to CFI. Because it's like 3 weeks long and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. People learn it different. People learn differently. Might take one person longer than the other. So I can understand why if you make it a little bit longer, everyone has to learn within that, no matter, how bad it is or how bad you learn or whatever. So I get it, and I understand, like, 3 weeks, is it enough? I don't know. I've never driven for CFI, so I don't know what they do. And honestly, it could be the same. It could be so repetitive that really you don't need that that long. I know that TMC, theirs is the same way. I think it's 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and it's the same thing. It's flatbed, but you're going to different places and unloading and different paperwork you have to sign, So I don't really understand why 50,000 miles. Like, I just don't get it. I can understand if you were like fresh out, getting your CDL, that kind of thing. But man, 50,000 miles is a lot. Gosh, just thinking about it, it's like, damn. I even was to my wife, like, we gotta figure something out because Now I'm getting to the point of like, once you do it like 3 or 4 times, you get to like places to deliver and pick up. Honestly, it is not very much. And you're still gonna have questions. You're still gonna have questions. There's gonna be something like, oh man, I didn't. This never happened to me when I was in training. For instance, say you were in training, you never broke down. Say your tire never blew up, and you ended up on the side of the road. Who are you supposed to call? Don't know. That never happened to you. So what are you supposed to do? Well, I know you call road assist, but still, there's going to be lots of things that didn't happen to you in training or that you didn't have to do while you were in training. So you're going to have to ask questions. And I get that maybe they're trying to cut down on all the questions you might have to ask. But honestly, like to me, $50,000 is 50,000 miles is a lot. And if I'm actually going to talk to my fleet manager and find out like, how do I really have to do the 50,000 miles? Because I'm getting to the point of like backing in and jumping out and getting the paperwork done, jumping back on the truck and going back to sleep and getting unloaded and getting the phone call and then pulling out, shutting your doors, finding somewhere to park. All of that is pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm getting to the point of like, okay, I want to do this like a couple more times so I can make sure that I'm good with the rhythm, but there's really no reason for me to have to be out here 50,000 miles. I didn't come in fresh with no CDL, nothing like that. So the reason why I'm talking about all this is because you guys, it sounds like $900 weekly is great, but man, it's like I said, it's pre-tax. So by the time it's all said and done, it's anywhere between $250 and $550, and it could be more, could be less, depending on what you have coming out. I gotta start making money. Like I have to start paying my bills because pretty soon if I can't do something here in the next couple months, like if we're not getting done with this shit pretty quick, like I ain't gonna have nowhere to live, and I can't, my wife works for I think it's a daycare or something, so she's not getting paid like millions of dollars, and it really, really need to get going here. Like 50,000 miles is a lot, and I don't think I realize how stupid that is. Like realistically, 50,000 miles, that's a long time. And really what it should be is a time frame. So it should be 4 weeks out, with your trainer. If you need more time, then you talk to the fleet manager and add on another 2, 3, 4 weeks. That way you have like, okay, I'm comfortable. And then if you need more time, you just say, hey, I need more time. Like that's the way it should be. That way there's no like set time. You have to get to this certain amount of mile point. Like honestly, and if you feel much more comfortable and your trainer agrees, like, yeah, you're good, man. Like you shouldn't be out here. Like you should be good to go. Like, you're good to go in your own truck. He's a safe driver. He knows what to do, backing in, all that stuff. Then you should be able to talk to the fleet manager and say, hey, like he's ready to go in his own truck. Like he doesn't need to be out here. That's the way it should be. And I understand like 50,000 miles being the baseline, but to make it rigid to the point of like you can't do anything. You could be a pro expert, all that before 50,000 miles, you can't even do anything unless you get that 50,000 miles. To me, if that's the way it is, that's shitty. It even like gets to a point of like thinking like, do I really want to continue like staying in like trying to finish this, or because I'm getting to the point where I need to pay my bills. Like I need to pay my bills, and everyone's like, well, you're getting paid. Yes, but some of that has to go to bills, and then the rest of it, I need to be able to survive out on the road. Like I need to be able to drink water and eat food, and it gets fucking expensive. We talked about this, I think, in the last video. It is fucking expensive to be out there on the road. Everything is expensive. Even the goddamn hot dogs that they sell at Love's and Flying J, those are kind of expensive. You can go to these local gas stations and get 2 hot dogs for $2, and you get like a drink and a bag of chips. It ain't like that out here. Like you get McDonald's and Denny's and Subway and Arby's and all this junk ass food. That's probably the cheapest thing you're going to buy. Unless you've got stuff on the truck already that you can eat, more than likely you're going to have to stop and grab something to eat, and that shit ain't cheap. So I know, at least for me, when I plan on getting on my truck, I plan on having Gatorades and bottles of water, a case of water at all times on my truck. The hardest part, at least for me, that I've noticed is staying hydrated. Staying hydrated is incredibly hard. But that, like I said, all that has to be factored in when you talk about miles and that kind of stuff. I guess for, like, I don't know what the thinking was behind it by making it that high, but still, that's just me. So, man, we've talked a lot about miles, but miles is the number one thing that people talk about or ask about, not only just in the trucking industry, but for Prime specifically, because Hardly any other places do it like Prime does. I don't think any other places does it like Prime does, where they have 50,000 miles and that's your training miles. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. I don't know who thought that up and thought it was a good idea to do that. In my opinion, I think it has more to do with putting the load on the owner ops as much as they possibly can for as long as they can. And I know that sounds shitty, but that's really the only thing that can come to mind. Like, why is it so long? Like, why is it so long? Because they're paying your, they're paying your salary basically. They're paying you. What I'm not saying is, do trainees need that? Do some trainees need that full 50,000? Yes, absolutely. I think some trainees do need that full 50,000. I think a lot of people have come in that never driven trucks, and so I get it. I do get that they might need that, but there's some people that don't. There are some people that don't, and I might, as rare as it is, I mean, I think you have to factor that in. So after it's all said and done with your training miles, now you're on your own running solo. You have it's all dependent on how hard you run and what's available. Just to get home, you guys all saw the video where I was pissed. Just to get home, they had nothing going in Louisiana, nothing going here. Now, did they have something? I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure they probably more on the East Coast somewhere. But a lot of guys are trying to stay Midwest right now because that's a lot of where the loads are at. I'm sure it would have boosted by now. I'm sure the trucking loads would have boosted by now had all that badass weather hit Florida. If you know what I'm talking about, there was Florida's completely flooded, or it was. I don't know if it still isn't, but I'm sure it is. And then all that snow and crazy rain that California had. So that hurts. That hurts, especially springtime. Oh, that hurts. So it really, once the weather starts to get better, that's really what it is the weather's killing us. The weather's absolutely killing us. That and a certain somebody in the presidential office who seems to think that there's nothing wrong with the economy. So once all that stuff gets straightened out, yeah, loads will boost back up, and then you can expect probably as many miles as you want, as long as you want to run, hard as you want to run, the downside, and I noticed, I was talking to my trainer and he was like, why do they always give you these shit loads? And then once you pass up on them, you finally get a good one. Why didn't they just give you that to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, surely they can see the loads that are available. Wouldn't you want the person in that, specifically whatever area he's at, the best load he can get? That way he makes money, then you make money, because if he does well, you do well. That's how it works with driver, fleet manager, dispatcher, whatever you want to call it. So you would think you want him to get the best possible load for himself, and if he turns that shit down, then, that's on him. But that's just the way I see it. Now, maybe it might be different than sitting in front of a computer. I'm just saying. But like I said, going back to the original, what we made the video originally about, it all depends on a lot of different factors. I mean, there's no one way to say that this is how many miles you're going to get. This is how many miles you can expect. It all depends on what you take, and if you're a company or load. If you're a company or lease, that matters. If you're a company, you just take whatever they give you. You don't really have a choice, do you? You can't really turn anything down. Lease ops can turn things down. They can, if they need to be in a certain place. Like, for example, I have my family member is going to have a birthday party in California, and it's not till the end of May. So what I'm thinking about is I might be able to drive my truck over there, meet them over there in May without having to buy a plane ticket. I might be able to come swing through Texas, pick up my daughter and my wife, and then drive the rest of the way to California, and then we can get clothes. At least she's a girl, so she can get a dress and shoes. We can find that anywhere. And I can rent a suit, and we can go to this birthday party. She's older, so it's not like a little kid's party. It's like I think the theme of it is like prom or something like that. So everyone's got to dress up or something. So yeah, and then I'd be able to hang out with my family for however long, and then I can go back on the road. I can go back towards Texas, drop my wife off, or if she wants to ride for a little bit, cool. So it all depends. It all depends on what you got going on. It's not as clear cut and dry as what people think. And it's like the same question. I mean, even on some of my videos, I get the same questions over and over and over again, and it's not in a bad way. It's just proof of like how much those miles mean to people, and how like, and I'm sure like I'm sure Prime's not crying about it at all, but I'm sure there are people that have decided not to go with Prime because of the amount of training miles they try to give you, or how many they say that you have to do. Sorry, but 50,000 miles is just, to me, is too much. I think it needs to be changed over to a time frame. In my opinion, 4 weeks I think is plenty, because if think about all you guys who drive for Prime, how many loads do you in a normal average week? Normal loads, nothing crazy, no long ones. How many loads do you normally get? Right? It's two or three. That's two or three times that person can learn to back it in or do this or do that. Over 4 weeks, how many loads do you think that is? That's a lot of loads. That's a lot of like learning. That's a lot of learning. And so if, let's say they make it 4 weeks, and maybe if they need more time, give them another 4 weeks. I think, to me, the time frame is way, way better than saying they have to do this many miles. Because honestly, I know there's people out. For instance, there was a girl who went to the training. This is the last time we were in Springfield, and with my trainer when we were hanging out, and we were talking to this guy. This girl did 50,000 miles. She got back and has no idea how to back up. Think about that for a second. She did her 50,000 miles and has no clue how to back up. She is terrible at backing. She had to get done with her 50,000 miles. Actually, she was at 49,500, I think it was, like 49,700, something like that. So the reason why they stopped her early is so she could come back in and work on her backing. The trainer brought her in to work on her backing. So either he was so frustrated that he couldn't do it, or he's a terrible trainer and shouldn't be training. Because if you've done close to 50,000 miles and you can't back up a trailer still, there's a problem. Somebody messed up. And it can't be the driver's fault. Maybe could it be? Yes, it could be. Maybe she doesn't understand very well. But how could she do everything else fine and can't back up? So to me, she might have had bad training. So she had to come back in, and they stopped her early. That way they didn't. That way she couldn't upgrade. Not to stop her from upgrading, but so that way she can work on her backing. So she had to come back in on the pad and work on her backing with another trainer. That is crap. That is crap. That is not good. And so, like I said, I can't say that the 50,000, the whole that training requirement, that whole thing they have set up, that program of 50,000. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm saying there should be some flexibility within that thing. It's that way for guys like for me, for example, or for people that are ready to go and trainers acknowledge, like, yeah, man, you're good. Like you can back it in. You know how to check in, check out. You can drive safely. You've done everything there is. I mean, you're good to go. You've gone down hills and mountains and all that. There's really not much else. I mean, think about it. How many people, somebody might say, well, what if they didn't do winter driving? Well, how many people did their training from spring to summer? And by the time they got on their own, that's when they first did winter driving. How many? Could be hundreds of thousands. So, I mean, it doesn't matter the year. It's just, if you're good to go and all that, then you should be good. You should be able to let them know, hey man, like I'm good. Like, can we, and then they talk to the trainer and all that, and he agrees. Cool. That's the way it should be. But yeah, I don't really want to get into like another like in depth on why I think 50,000 is stupid, but just know that it is dumb. On the point that I was making about how many miles you'll get when you're out of training, there's no way to know. There's absolutely no way to know. And anyone in the comments who says, "Oh no, I get this many to this many a week," you're a liar. You're a liar. There's no way, unless you're on a dedicated route, or you run some kind of regional route where it's pretty much the same all the time, or you run the same loads over and over and over again. That's the only. When you're OTR, there's no way to know. And that's another thing is nobody knows what division she's in. Nobody knows if she's divisional. Divisional. Nobody knows if she's regional or if she's got a dedicated route. Nobody knows any of this stuff. All of that plays a factor. There's no way to know how many miles you're going to get unless you've already been doing it and Like, it's like, I run a dedicated route and I run from Walmart in Dallas to someplace in El Paso to San Antonio and back. And maybe that whole entire route's 1,800 miles. Okay, great. You get 1,800 miles that week. and it's the same every week, okay, then you'll know for sure. But if you're running OTR like some other regional route, you don't have like something like that, there's no way to know. It's going to be different every week. You could have two loads that pay. You could pay a ton, or you could have 10 loads that might pay like shit. Who knows? I mean, there's no way to know how many miles you're going to get. I think what they want to know is like an average of what they could expect realistically. Like, oh, you'll get roughly anywhere between maybe 2,000 on average a week or something. Who knows? But again, that's a really hard way to answer that because of the way the economy is right now. There's no way to know. Even if the economy was like really, really great and there was loads galore, not enough drivers, there's still no way to know. There's just too many factors to know how many miles you're going to get. So for all you guys that are new and wanting to know, like, oh man, he works for Prime, and so how many miles is he going to do? Am I going to get a week when I finally get on my own? There's no way to know. There's absolutely no way to know, and don't believe anybody that tells you otherwise. You know, I've said this a million times in all kinds of videos that I've made. I'm not going to bullshit you when it comes to how it really is out here. I'm not going to, there's no straight answer for a lot of things, especially in the trucking world. There's no way to know how many miles you're going to get. There's way too many factors that go into how many miles you might get a week. So don't believe anyone's bullshit, especially on YouTube, because it seems like guys come on here just to comment and be retards. You know, and those are the guys you just completely ignore. And a lot of times we don't even answer their question. You know, whatever dumb question they have to say or some stupid comment they have. Those are the super truckers, and you don't know what they're talking about. You know, and they just watch Smokey and the Bandit and jerk off. It's just, you know, don't listen to those guys. A lot of times they're just there to talk shit, even on the road. Like you hear them on the CB radio, like just completely bitching, you know, all the time. Like you can tell who they are right off the bat. I mean, it's ridiculous. But let me get out of here, guys. This video is already 26 something minutes, and my phone wasn't all the way charged when I first started this. But I wanted to make this video, let you guys know what was going on, where I'm at. I should be back on the road Thursday. Well, maybe Friday. I got here Thursday night into Friday, so I want to be back ready to go Friday. And I know that's an entire week off. The only reason I want to do that, I say Friday, is because I want to see my son is playing soccer right now for his middle school, and I want to see his game, which is Thursday. So what I don't want to do is say I'll be ready Thursday, and then he comes and gets me at 5 o'clock Thursday right before the game starts. You know, so Friday is when I want to be ready to go, and I know that's a long time off, and I know that's going to hurt me, but I'm okay with that. I need to. I want to see my son play soccer. There's no amount of money that could be paid to, you know, to miss something of that magnitude with my son. You know, even if I won't be able to go to every game, I want to go to a game. I want to see him play. So, and just being there for a game means it's going to mean a lot to him. So, guys, stay safe. Keep the wheels down. I just recently saw a tanker this morning here locally, about 10 minutes away, right in front of the place I used to work before I went to Prime. Right in front of it on the frontage road of the interstate. I guess it burst into flames. I guess there was a 3 or 4 car accident, and the driver of the tanker died. So you can look it up. It was here in, I don't know if they would have called it Nolanville or Belton, Texas. It's either Nolanville, Texas or Belton, Texas. But you can look it up. He died. It was a big fire. I think there was another one just recently where it was another tanker that was on a bridge. I think he died. Or maybe he got out. I don't remember, but I know for sure this guy died. So, guys, stay safe. You know, like, don't let these guys and these four-wheelers make you do anything stupid. Take care of yourself first. If you think you're getting in a hairy situation, slow down. Let them pass you. Don't get into a spot where you know it's like, ooh, man, that's kind of, I don't know if I want to do that. If you have to slow down, slow down. So what? Who cares? Stop thinking you rule the road because you're in a big truck. Slow down. Let them people go past you, you know, and then you can catch up and catch them back. You can pass them back safely. But quit doing this stupid stuff where it's like, oh, I'm not moving over. I'm a big truck, and, you know, just run them off the road. Stop doing it, man. Stop doing it. Be safe. You know, think about yourself, your family. You know, if you got kids, grandkids, man, don't do something stupid. But other than that, guys, let me get out of here. I got some house cleaning to do. I'm the only one here right now, so I'm gonna clean the house, and then you know, I think I'll throw up another video tomorrow. If you guys haven't, go to my Facebook, EKM Transport, which reminds me, I uploaded new logos. Check it out. I put it on the my Facebook page, the EKM Transport page, and I also uploaded it here to the YouTube channel and all that stuff. I told you a new logo was incoming. Me and my wife sat down and did it. If you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. We used red and orange because red's my favorite color, and orange is her favorite color. So we wanted to make sure that it was mixed up, and we really like the logo. It looks cool. So guys, thank you very much. Thank you all for the support, all the comments you guys post on here. I mean, I've even seen comments back on my older videos. I'm trying to post new video. I'm trying to post at least 2 videos a day. Some days I can't do that. We've got a lot of stuff. For instance, I had a birthday party, my birthday party, so it was just a lot going on. And today's kind of the first day where it's, I can actually relax a little bit. So, guys, I appreciate all support. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will try to get another video out today. I don't know if I will, but I'll definitely try to get one tomorrow. But other than that, appreciate it, guys. We'll see you soon.